time for another bonus edition of Who Are These Podcasts and part 9 of Easy for You to Say John's Autobiography. Of course, producer Chris is with us, and I'm very happy to introduce the Reverend Bob Levy joining us today. What's up, Bob?
It's good to be here, guys. I was excited. I couldn't sleep last night. This is great.
I'm sure that's why, yeah.
It was. This has made everybody so happy. One idiot can bring so much love to other people.
It is true. I wish he would recognize the good that he's doing. I have heard, Bob, because you and I, we've been in conversations about doing a live show coming up dedicated to Stuttering John. I have heard that he's interested in possibly attending this show.
That would be great.
You think so? How would that go down? What do you think would happen with that?
It depends if he brings the hitman from the nursery, whatever. Not the nursery, the fucking old age home, whatever the fuck they call it.
I'll make sure Market Pluto gets the ramp out so that him and his buddies can all make it into the club. Yeah.
We can just fuck him up and go on the second floor, but we're not going to do that. You know?
Well, I tried.
Everybody get up on the stage. They can't get us up there.
Foiled again.
They're one step ahead of us.
Literally.
Yeah. Just one.
All right, so we are going to dive back into Stuttering John's autobiography, and today's show's all about Jackie Martling.
Correct.
There is a chapter. It starts off with Jackie Martling 922 Wine is the first chapter, and then my favorite Jackie story, followed by my favorite Jackie moments, followed by the final Jackie departure.
Yeah. It couldn't all be one chapter.
It couldn't all just be one thing.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll get into it, but my favorite Jackie story is multiple stories.
Right, yeah.
And every story that he likes is when the other person is a jackass.
Yeah.
Those are his favorate stories. I think Jackie was an asshole.
He basically doesn't say anything good about him. Good about him. Afterwards,
Right.
he goes, one of my best friends, at the time. And then he's just trashing him afterwards. And I'm like, yeah.
He actually says, I kid because I love at one point.
Yeah, I know.
Like, okay.
All right, so let's get right into this. He starts off by talking about how before Jackie was on the Howard Stern show, he had this joke line people could call into.
Apparently, he had like 12 answer machines in his mom's attic in East Norwich, and people could call in and hear a bunch of crappy jokes. Well, they weren't crappy. Mostly I would call the line when I was on the crapper. We didn't have cell phones then, so what the hell else was I going to do? I already read my latest edition of Mad Magazine 20 times. Anyway, I guess Jackie got the break of a lifetime by becoming a part-time member of the Howard Stern show.
All right, so I'm already pissed off. This is the first thing he says in the chapter, and John says, well, I guess Jackie got the break of a lifetime becoming a part-time member. No, Jackie earned that role. You're the one who got a break of a lifetime for having a stutter.
Yeah.
You were hired sight unseen. Jackie had to come on and prove himself time and time again in order to get that job on the Howard Stern show.
Yeah, John was just retarded. I mean, that's how he got the job.
That's how he got the job. That's called a break. That's a lucky break. Jackie, not so much. Jackie had to get prepared and do well.
Yeah, not too many retarded people actually get breaks in entertainment. All I can remember is John and the kid from Life Goes On. That guy,
Right. Who John thinks he's above, but actually has had a better career in show business than John has. So the other thing that John does is he wants to be Howard Stern. So he talks about how, I already read my Mad Magazine 20 times, because that's what Howard used to talk about when he was younger. He would read Mad Magazine. So now this is John's personality, too.
Yeah.
He's reading Mad Magazine on the crapper and calling into Jackie's joke line.
Yeah, and he had to throw it in his mom's attic. They couldn't have been in Jackie's house. You know what I mean? It's a dig.
Right.
Everything's a dig. How bad everything is.
That's a subtle one,
else.
too. You're right. I guess he had like 12 answer machines in his mom's attic. Like, he's just dismissing this thing this guy was doing long before the internet. Not a lot of people knew how to set up phone lines and set up like joke lines. It was something innovative, I would say.
Yeah.
But he just dismisses it. All right. So now John's going to talk about how when he was working his regular blue-collar job before he got his big show business break, he would listen to the Howard Stern show, and he would imagine what was happening on that show.
I used to picture him and Fred sitting in chairs next to each other, handing Howard jokes, which ultimately was an accurate assessment.
Now, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong. Did people know that Fred and Jackie were writing jokes for Howard back then? That wasn't a well-known thing.
No, it was a well-known thing, actually.
It was.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was because I knew Jackie from when I did the open mics and when I first started, and he would say, "You can tell they're my jokes," because he would laugh really hard, and that's how I kind of knew it was him. They were doing that, but I mean, I don't know if they mentioned it on the air or something like that, or Jackie said something, or Howard mentioned it. I'm not really sure, but I knew about it.
Okay, so you knew about it because you know Jackie Martling.
Yeah.
I don't know that the regular listeners did, but John is talking about how he had it all figured out. He understood how the entire show was running before he even got there. He's like, yeah, I had this. It's funny because when you talk about listening to a radio show, everyone has a picture in their head and it's always way off from what it is, what you think the person looks like, what the studio's arranged like, all this stuff. So you're always way off whatever you imagine it to be. John's like, and I knew exactly what it was all along.
He's been a fan since he was a kid, he says.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's possible. But okay.
Right.
Yeah, no, he doesn't even know his own stories and his own bullshit.
No.
If he has to tell the same story twice, it's going to be totally different.
Yes.
He's not going to remember anything.
So this is him talking about becoming friends with Jackie, and listen to how he shows that they became friends very quickly.
I was excited to meet Jackie. Heck, he was a likable guy.
Heck.
After I'd been on the show for a few days, Jackie and I became friends. So much so that I was helping him load furniture into his shithole roach-infested 6th floor walk-up on East 65th Street.
See, that's how you know they're friends. John did him a favor.
Yeah.
John's always
And
doing favors for people.
And insulted him.
Four times going into the building. Oh my God! The steps, he's making it seem like everybody has roaches. I'm not the only one. You see?
Yeah, right, you're right, exactly. I just think that's so funny. Like in John's mind, he has to equate himself doing a solid for somebody else. Like you'll never hear an example of Jackie doing John a favor that he didn't do begrudgingly. Jackie driving John into work was a fucking chore for Jackie.
Right.
But John, out of the goodness of his heart, helps this guy move into his 6-story walk-up. Wow.
And
John doesn't even think of it as a ride to work. He thinks about him being a companion.
Yeah, right, exactly. He's doing him a favor.
Yeah.
And you actually ask the people that are really stupid to help you move because those are the ones that are going to help you. Anybody else comes up with an excuse why they can't go. No one's going to help
people
you.
who are willing to help you for a slice of pizza and a beer are the people you ask to help you move.
Yeah.
John fits into that category.
It works every time, too.
He's negotiating 2 slices of pizza. Like, okay, John, you win this one.
I like Coors.
Good negotiations. All right, so then, fast forward, John's with Susanna. Jackie has a house on Long Island that's kind of close to the water.
Yeah.
He makes fun of him for that, too.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to go all the way up to the attic and look through a shitty window and you can maybe see.
Again with the steps.
He's such a prick. But apparently he liked the house enough that he decided he had to buy a house in that neighborhood right away.
Yeah.
After the first time we left, Susanna said that this was the only place besides the city that she could live. So the next day, I looked in Newsday, saw a listing, sold my Infinity stock, and bought my first house. I am an islander. I like the city, but I love the tranquility of
Isn't this how the Beverly Hillbillies started?
I think so. I wrote a note for myself. Remember that this is called a Jackie Martling chapter. John keeps getting sidetracked with, and then I was amazing. And I did this, and then I did that. Because none of these details he's going to go into explaining how he got this house are necessary for this chapter.
No.
The house, grass, and the beach. I had bought 1,000 shares of Infinity stock for $17, then another 1,000 at like $30, and then sold it, profiting about $300,000. I put $100 down on the house, and much to Jackie's chagrin, we were essentially neighbors.
Okay. So what he just said was he bought 1,000 shares at $17. I'm assuming that means per share, right?
Yeah.
Not $17 for 1,000 shares.
I was hoping you would break this down.
Yeah.
And then he bought 1,000 more shares at $30. That's $47,000. This guy was making less than $30,000 a year, and he's putting $47,000 on a single stock just because he's such a genius and he knows how to invest his money like
he's
that.
the expert.
Yeah, so it's working today.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't believe it, Bob, because I'm watching everything that's going on now, and it seems implausible. This guy was so brilliant in the stock market.
But he even got grass in front of the house too. That was a good move,
Very impressive.
Yeah,
Very
I'm not getting
temporary,
into if
too.
it doesn't have grass. Every house has grass, you fucking idiot.
With the grass and the roof and the door.
Well, it's all concrete. Oh, this is a skate park? Oh, okay. Well, then I want a house.
You don't throw it indoors.
Anyway, I just couldn't believe that he throws out there. he put $47,000 worth of his savings into the stock and then sold it for a profit of $300,000 in order to put $100,000 down on this house. What did he do with the other $200,000? I wonder, because he says in the next breath that he couldn't afford his mortgage.
I couldn't really afford the mortgage on my meager K-Rock salary, so Jackie and I would commute together. Man, he was grouchy in the morning.
So how does that make sense? I couldn't afford the mortgage, so we would commute together. Does that mean he couldn't pay for the train?
No, he's too much of a mensch to say I blew it on charity.
I think you're right. This is what I couldn't understand. He has $300,000, puts $100,000 down in the house, then can't afford the mortgage, so he has to carpool. If you can't afford the mortgage, carpooling isn't going to help you. No. Right? I mean, how much is the train every day? A couple bucks? So I don't know what that even means.
And the reason why Jackie was grouchy in the morning, because he had to drive him in there.
Yeah.
You know, he was probably the happiest fucking guy in the world before John was sitting next to him.
Yeah. John explains that Jackie didn't want to talk in the morning. Now, remember, this is 5 a.m., maybe 4:30 a.m. It's
Probably,
dark out still.
Yeah.
You don't want to be up. It's annoying. Having a morning radio job is not a fun gig to have. No one enjoys it. But, you know, according to John was just a happy-go-lucky guy who just wanted to have some fun. But first, he needs to call out Jackie for being cheap. Remember, this is the guy who needs to carpool with Jackie because he can't afford the train.
Yeah.
He would drive over the 59th Street Bridge instead of going through the Midtown Tunnel to save the $3.50 in tolls, the cheap fuck. His excuse was that it was closer, but I wasn't buying it.
He's the guy who borrows his
Nobody was
brother's
selling it
suit.
to you, fucking idiot. You know, it's just the way he went. Maybe it was good luck if he went that way. Maybe he thought the door would open and you fucking fall off the bridge or something. And die.
Yeah.
Also, if John wants to take the tunnel so badly, maybe he can pay the $3.50, that cheap amount of money it is, to go through the fucking tunnel every day.
Yeah.
No one's stopping him from maybe giving him some money for gas or a toll.
I would like to know how much he was actually giving, if anything. I bet he's going, well, you were going anyway, and I'll meet you wherever you are so I don't have to pay anything.
Oh, that's funny because that concept comes up later.
Yes,
Really?
it does. 100%.
The teaser.
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny, Bob. Do you still talk to Jackie at all?
No, not really. You know, I know people that are tight with him, but everyone loves Jackie. I always loved Jackie.
I have so many questions for him now.
I know.
Now that I've entered into this world of Stuttering John and all, I would love to sit down with Jackie and play these chapters for him because I guarantee Jackie's never heard this. Because if he did, he would have been pissed at John a long time ago.
Right.
It wouldn't have happened more recently with the seizure shit.
Yeah, I thought it would be, you know, you figure you write a book and you're going to write some good stuff about somebody, not what a piece of shit they are. I mean, people want to hear the funny stuff and just good things, and you're like, yeah, that was great back then. But now it's like, maybe he's a piece of shit. I don't really care too much about him, the way he's putting them out there.
Bob, I think in John's mind, this is a fair and balanced assessment of their relationship. Because John will throw in every now and again, yeah, but I love that guy. But every other thing he says is that guy was a prick, and he was cheap, and he was an asshole, and he was gross.
Yeah, there's no evidence of the love.
Yeah, none at all.
Yeah.
All right. So this is Jackie snapping at John for just being a polite guy and wanting to have some banter in the morning on the way into work.
After a long spell of silence, I asked, "Hey, man, how are you?" He snapped, "You see, this is why I don't want to drive you, because I don't want to tell anyone how I'm doing."
Now, I don't know if that conversation happened verbatim, but if it did, that's pretty fucking funny. Yeah. I give Jackie credit on that one. Yeah. Can I just be left with my thoughts,
And
asshole?
I'm with him.
Yeah.
5 a.m.
How are you?
Yeah.
I am well, John. How are you?
Yeah.
Did I tell you about my stocks I used to buy my house next to you? You know, what's he going to say at 5 in the morning?
Right.
All right. So then, John, this is the one time he admits that maybe he was the one in the wrong, as Jackie has to come and pick him up from his house every morning to take him into work.
I was scared of him in the morning. I would just sit there quietly. I know I really irritated him once when it was pouring rain outside and Jackie was in my driveway. I had overslept, so I ran out my underwear with a handful of clothes. He was pissed. I can't say I blame him that time.
Bob, you ever been so late you just run out of your house with your clothes in your hands? You'll figure it out later.
Never.
That's like a Dave Attell joke. He talks about how they sell luggage at the airport. How late do you have to be? Just grab a bunch of clothes. We'll figure it out at the airports. What the fuck are you talking about? Put your clothes on inside and then come out, Jake. You'll wait the other 3 seconds.
You don't want another reason to piss somebody off. You could just come out late. You can come out late and dress like naked. Yeah, that's even worse. It's like, come on. He doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't know how he's alive, truthfully.
So I came out and I was doing my morning piss on the way to his car. So I didn't want to make him even more late. It's like, there's no way this is a true story that he came out in his underpants with his clothes in his hands in the pouring rain, too, on top of all of that. Such an asshole. And then he has the balls to call out Jackie for being self-absorbed.
When we were doing the Channel 9 show, I used to take the train to work in the morning, do the radio show, get a ride with Robin to the Channel 9 show, and then afterward, Jackie would drive me home to Long Island. Well, not exactly. Jackie would drop me off 15 minutes from my house, off of the LIE, because he didn't want to inconvenience himself by driving me into Massapequa and back. It's like the time he refused to give Eddie Murphy a ride home when Eddie was a struggling comic. And look
There's
how
a
that
difference.
turned
Eddie
out.
Murphy's Eddie Murphy, and you're John. You know what I mean? He doesn't get that. He doesn't get, you're not going to do anybody a ride like 50. If you don't want to go, it's 15 minutes off. It's 15 minutes back. So that's
You're
a
welcome.
half hour.
Yeah.
So you are inconveniencing somebody. So go fuck yourself. You're not in the same league as Eddie Murphy, even when he wasn't famous. So fucking shut the fuck up and get out and walk.
Right. What he implies there is that fucking Jackie can't get out of his own way. He should have done me a solid. He should have done Eddie Murphy a solid. And if he had, I'd still be propping him up in his career today. It's like, John, why did you even bring up Eddie Murphy? Just wanted to, once again, tell Jackie what an asshole he is and how many mistakes he's made, because it had nothing to do with anything else.
Right.
And look how that turned out. Jackie is a good guy, but Jackie is all about Jackie.
Jackie is a good guy, but Jackie is all about Jackie. That is such a delusional thing for John to write down and not realize, like, could people say this about me as well?
Right.
Should I maybe lay off Jackie a little bit since I'm kind of an asshole?
And that was the tail end of his Eddie Murphy drop.
Yeah.
And see how that turned out. So that's his gotcha moment. Like, what does that have to do with anything? There's no context to it.
Does he think he would have been in another 48 hours or something if you just given him that fucking ride? What is he talking about?
Makes no sense.
He could have been drunk number 4 in Beverly Hills Cop 3. But instead, this idiot didn't give Eddie Murphy a ride. And it fucked up his whole career. But Jackie was a good guy. All he's been doing is giving examples of what an asshole Jackie is, nonstop. Yep. I mean, I wanted to clip them all because they're all ridiculous, but we have to get through this this book. All right. So then John reads an email that Jackie sent to Howard after 9/11. Now, Jackie had already left the Howard Stern show. And then Jackie decided he wanted to get back on. Jackie was trying to get back on the show. He realized that he maybe asked for too much money. He thought that he had a lot more leverage than he actually did.
Yeah, he waited it out, and it was a bad thing to wait it out. He should have, a week early, a month earlier.
Yes, yeah. So this was the third time that Jackie had a contract dispute and sat out, and the other 2 times they were able to come to terms, and so it worked out for him. This time, like you said, Bob, I think Jackie would say he probably should have been at the table and accepted some of these offers. So this is John talking about how after 9/11, Jackie wrote a note to Howard saying, hey, man, this might be a good time to get the band back together. People in New York need to laugh again, and we were the #1 show. Let's do it.
What the fuck was wrong with him? He tried using a tragedy to get his job back? I know his heart was in the right place, but come on, Jackie. New York would feel better? I'm sorry, joke man. I don't think all of New York is focused on you and the Howard Stern show. But that's just one of Jackie's flaws. It's Jackie's world, and we're just part of it.
That's just one of Jackie's flaws. I like that John goes, I know his heart's in the right place. Well, then why'd you bring it up?
Yeah.
Right.
Don't bring it up. Don't fucking knock him for it if you think he had good intentions.
Don't paint it in a bad light because of it. And let's not forget about charities here. And
I know.
That's all I can think of when he's like, how could you use this for your own benefit?
That's all John ever does. He finds every way to use anything.
He's jealous.
He wishes more people were getting chemo treatment so he could make a few bucks right now, but there's just not enough people.
I think they
cancer.
realize $300 ain't really chemo. You don't really get any chemo with that. I don't know what they get.
Oh, no? You don't
Yeah,
get a discount chemo treatment for
Well,
$300
he said he was getting it for, and I looked it up, and it's very expensive. So I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know where. Maybe Walmart has a place they do it, but
But a mini iPad would help your cancer, right?
oh, totally. If I had that, I wouldn't. If I had cancer, that's what I always say. If I get cancer, get me a mini iPad right away so I can get cured.
It reminds me, Bob, of I think it was Hurricane Sandy, and or maybe it was Katrina, but a lot of people were coming together to raise funds for the victims of this. And there were local rock shows at a place called Monty's Crown here in Rochester, where if your band plays there, you can't make more than $80. That would be a good night for you at Monty's Crown. And they were having these shows. Let's raise money for the victims of Hurricane Sandy. I'm like, this is not doing anything. Stop pretending you're being charitable. You are doing nothing. It's the same as zero.
Well, right.
Yeah,
no, that's
you're
the
gonna
one
save
thing
it.
that's doing is making people themselves feel good about it.
Correct.
And
doing nothing
And
for the
everyone gets to
cause.
watch their band.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll be like, here, all the victims, here's a bucket you can get water out of your house with that we raised for all the money that night.
Yeah, there's a hole in it, but good luck. You're skipping fast enough.
It's amazing. It's always like that. It's always all heroes, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That do nothing for it. It's basically for them.
And John promoting that cancer thing for a couple of months, too, as if that was going to make a difference. Even if that's the copay, Bob, the $300 or something. Yeah. It's not like the hospital's going to turn you away like, oh, you guys are a little light, huh? All right, bye-bye. Like, go die of fucking cancer, idiots. John shows up in his cape. Here I come to save the day.
Yeah. He's got a fucking change belt on.
I think I got $10 in quarters. Will that get me anything? Sir, you have to leave.
You can't roll your payments and come here and give it to us. Bunch of dimes and quarters rolled up.
All right, so this is how selfish Jackie is, and John's going to point this out for us.
Don't get me wrong, but the thing I learned over the numerous conversations I had with Jackie was that he was optimistic and forgiving when it benefited him. For instance, if Nancy had a problem with somebody, but the guy was nice to Jackie, he would say in that high-pitched voice, "But he's a good guy." All right, I digress.
All right, that's weird.
That is weird.
So now Nancy, Jackie's wife, has a problem with a guy, but it's a guy that can benefit Jackie, so Jackie sticks up for that guy to his wife. Why is John writing this in his book?
Yeah, why is John involved?
Why is John involving himself in this?
And also, how far into this chapter he has to say the high-pitched voice? Just do the voice. We get it.
Yeah.
Right.
Dummy.
He doesn't know how to read his own book because he's constantly doing things.
Do the voice.
That's what he's doing. He's reading it from the book in high voice. He's such a fucking dope.
Page
He
34.
Yeah, it's turn page. I can. That would be.
Who are these podcasts?